Our names are Matt Jackson and Sean Green. We were just veterans BSing in parking lots about wrestling and their storylines until last year when... Dude, why are we just talking about this? We should record it and start a podcast. When you start a podcast, you have no clue what you're doing. You fumble through all the technology.
Yep, you're back up, but you froze for about a minute. Oh, you're gone.
You rely on Google searches and reviews to piece it all together. You rely on your co-host for insightful content.
Surprise, surprise!
And as
Live and in Technicolor. Dude, you've got an iron bladder. Because I have to go again.
you make some friends along the way.
The big man himself, El Jefe himself, Mikey.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off, shall we?
Hi, Nick. Long time no see.
This is going to be a match here real soon.
You eventually reach 100 subscribers. Reese hit our 100 subscribers, so perfect timing for Reese. Bottom line is, as you continue to push out content, you'll always have a podcast. With all that said, welcome to the If We Had the Pencil podcast. Here are your hosts, Sean Green and Matt Jackson. Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of If We Had the Pencil podcast. I'm your host, exhausted as always, WrestleMania'd out, like running long, but I'm here and I survived. I'm your host, Sean Green. And with me as always, the Iron Man of Iron Men, the man who watched both nights of WrestleMania in the same day, taking us back to those epic classics of being up until ridiculous hours of the night, because going, I think I'm burnt out now. My partner is always Matt Jackson. Matt, how the hell are you?
Burnt out. All that
It was a long
all
weekend.
that wrestling on Sunday, and then I had to, wait, we got Raw after WrestleMania too, so. And then, wait, Tuesday night's podcast, so tomorrow night, I don't even know if I'm going to watch, put crap on YouTube. Because while I was doing homework, I also, yesterday and today, had a bunch of Busted Open and James Romero and other podcasters talking about and their different opinions. And we're going to give you ours.
Yep,
First
we
of
are.
all,
And we are.
Thank you for those that liked and showed up for our two preview shows. I think we got to come up with a name for it, because it's kind of like coffee hour. So they'll be in the morning when we do those in the future. So we'll have to get creative. Like we do the great outdoors every now and again, and sharing the pencil. We got to come up with the coffee talks, preview shows.
Yep. Or if y'all have a suggestion, have at it. But we think those are going to last for the PLEs. We'll do your morning preview shows. Matt and I already kind of talked about which way we're going to go forward with it. So,
also, with that for our regular listeners, and I want to say it off the top because I thought of it this afternoon. Do us a favor if you're a regular listener. Go back to some of our early stuff. If you go into our channel, try to compare the difference. Offer suggestions, put them in comments. Heck, send us an email at ifwegotthepencil@gmail.com. We'll check it. I mean, if you don't like it, just be nice about it.
yeah. I mean, honestly, we're always looking to improve, and you're our audience. So we want to hear what makes us better. We want to hear what you think. And boy, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So here's your format, folks.
We
are going to blast through SmackDown. But we have to touch on SmackDown because there was a couple of big things and they kind of set up stuff for WrestleMania. Then we'll get into the Raw after WrestleMania. There's a lot to talk about there as well. A lot to get into. A lot. So we're just going to kick off. We're going to go into SmackDown. So SmackDown kicked off. Randy cuts a promo. I don't think we should get into it. Randy dropped a great promo. It did what it needed to. There was an interesting tidbit when they got to the arena with some contract stuff that turns out kind of had a reflection on Saturday night. So we'll get into that later.
And I thought I caught it.
You did catch it.
Because I was like, he said something about referee. And I'm like, what? and I was only half-ass paying attention. I just happened to caught it. It was peculiar. The only thing now about that whole promo that also makes sense too, when Randy gave his promo, he said one line that people said that he wants Pat. He says that he wants Pat, but doesn't need him, and that's evident what happened Saturday night too. So he was foreshadowing what happened Saturday night. And thank God I reviewed my notes real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that, we get the Wyatts. Yeah, after that, we get the Wyatts and the MFTs. It was a nice little match. It was like a street fight, and it is what it is. I think this is finally over. Thank goodness. It was getting a little long and ridiculous. I think MFTs are... I think they're going to have a little something more coming up. I think it's going to get interesting. So I don't want to harp on it other than to say, like, I'm glad that feud is done. It's time for them both to kind of move on and do different things. You know, so it was good. All right, so Jacob Fatu comes out in police cars, and it was a great way to lean into this whole Drew's belittling him about being a convict and all this, that, and the other, and he leaned into it, and I appreciate that. And he cut a hell of a promo too. So, like, good stuff from Jacob.
It was. I really liked that segment. It was good. It was the final, like, nice touch before the show. And then, of course, before that, we get some hilarity with Danhausen and R-Truth and Priest. And Danhausen thinks he's the ring bearer, best man, and maid of honor for Miz and Marcy's wedding renewals. Miz is not happy. Danhausen gets mad, curses Marcy, shenanigans ensue, and Marcy ends up in the cake. Just remember, wrestling, if there's a cake around, shenanigans will happen.
Shoot, if there's a wedding and there's a cake, there's usually shenanigans.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I think those all just kind of go hand in hand.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So speaking of R-Truth, him and Damian Priest defeat Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller in it was an alright match. Like, SmackDown was okay. We talked about it all weekend. WWE has this horrible trend right now where, like, you get a good show. It might not be an epic show, it might not be an A+ show, but you get a good show, and then as they build to the end of the show, it ends with, like, a wet fart. And it's just gross. And, like, you're like, man, you guys just totally took me out of it with this crap. But I digress. You know, good for Priest, good for Truth. It was a fun little match.
Making the hot tag to Kofi.
I love that stuff so much. We're not going to get into it. Rhea Ripley confronted Jade Cargill. Yeah, we know. They got a match. So then we had a number one contenders match for the U.S. Championship on the women's side, and Tiffany Stratton defeated Jordan Grace. And Grace looked okay. You know, she looks a lot better than the last time I saw her. So she's obviously putting in the work.
She carried a lot of that match, actually. She was on offense the majority of it, and Tiffany kind of snuck it out at the end. So
she needs better in-ring gear.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely does.
I think I said she looked like she just borrowed a costume off of the original American Gladiators. Like, it was just...
It's a little dated look, but they'll work with that, I hope.
So, because I like joy in my life, Trick Williams comes out, and then he calls out Sami Zayn. Sammy's music drops, and a giant gingerbread man comes out to the ring, and I am dying. It is, like, the greatest troll job ever. Like, talk about leaning into, like, I called you the gingerbread man, we're just gonna lean into it, and I loved it so much. The real Sammy eventually comes out. And the best part about this whole thing, it ends with Sammy haluva kicking the gingerbread man, and his whole head spins around. And I was like, oh my god, this is just great. It was fun. I actually have appreciated the build between Sammy and Trick Williams a lot. So, it was a fun bit.
Whoever thought kicking a man dressed up as a gingerbread man would turn you heel?
He was getting booed, too. He was getting booed hard.
Mm-hmm.
There is no doubt that Trick is over. But
the diehards are dwindling by the week.
Yes. They're all at home. They're pacing themselves. They're all sitting at home in Canada waiting for Sammy to be the heir apparent.
Well, at least with being Canadians.
All right, this one we're gonna gloss over too because it's just been typical build stuff. Irresistible Forces destroyed Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Lyra. Okay, cool. You know, typical like yeah. It's just gonna be what it is. Then we get the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and the one thing that sticks out in my mind, outside of the winner, was the catatonic Johnny Gargano eliminating somebody by them tripping over Johnny laying on the mat. And when Johnny eventually gets eliminated, he gets pushed over the top rope and goes catatonic like as he's falling and goes, oh my God, it was so good. So good.
I just thought it was funny. It was Kit Wilson that tripped over Johnny, right? I think it was.
Yes,
he was the first
it
one
was.
Out. And that like revived Johnny. Like all of a sudden, like I'm a
It's
winner.
like, oh, I got an elimination. It just
I'm a winner. Go Tiger. Oh, you know me. You and I talk, and I am not a fan of battle royals. I do love the Royal Rumble because I think it's more fluid and you know you get lulls in it where you only have a few people. Where Royal Rumbles to me is just battle royals. They just tend to be a cluster and a mess. But I like how they kind of got rid of a bunch of people right off the bat. Like the first 2 minutes, they lost like 5 or 6, opened up some room. They did some big man spots. Aleister Black and Otis both had big nights in the Battle Royal. But we all knew that once Royce came out that this was all about Royce Geese.
Glad he got the love.
Fun.
I mean,
it was a fun Battle Royal. I liked it.
This accentuates a little bit more though. There's only so many matches on WrestleMania. We'll get into the timing thing. It's a whole thing. But like, you know, little stuff like winning the Battle Royal, it's not a bad thing. It's not, you know. So it was good. I'm glad Royce Keys won. You know, it's gonna kind of zhuzh him up a little bit. And then the wet fart happens after that great moment.
Wow.
Cody and CM Punk come out. Now, luckily, I have great friends in our text group because the first words on their mouth is, why the F is, you know, CM Punk in a suit? And they were like, Hall of Fame. And I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. Like, thank you. I feel better now. You know, we'll just, you know, say that Punk actually looked better in his suit than Cody does, and Cody wears crap all the time. So, I don't know.
Maybe
Cody dresses like a Ken doll.
Well, that and also I think because we don't see Punk dressed up much, so it was different. But yeah, he did. I don't like Cody's taste in suits, but I don't like.
I do not. I don't like the high-rise pants, and I don't like the skinny pant. You know, the tapering down. So it's a Sean thing. You know,
I'm wearing a suit. I'm wearing like a black sports jacket, a pair of jeans, and a button-down shirt, no tie. And you know what?
If I'm wearing a suit, something's gone horribly wrong.
So while someone's I'm in somebody's wedding or I'm in somebody's funeral. Yeah.
So I unfortunately have not watched the Hall of Fame as of yet. I've seen highlights here and there. So Matt, any thoughts on the Hall of Fame? Because I got done with SmackDown. I settled in. I was like, I'm going to watch the Hall of Fame. I missed the red carpet. Danhausen's amazing because even on the red carpet, he was amazing. But, like, I fell asleep. It's just too damn late. I don't know why they haven't cracked the code on this yet. Like, why are we doing the Hall of Fame this ridiculously late? Like, just, you got a whole week of crap. Just make the Hall of Fame Thursday. Make it its own event.
Screw it. Put it at noon on Saturday. But you can't because the wrestlers can't be there because they got to be at the stadium. So do you do the Hall of Fame on a Thursday night?
I would just do it on a Thursday. What is it going to hurt? You know, either you're going to have those poor schlebs like me that fall asleep because it's just so damn late. And what's even worse is I'm in Mountain Time Zone right now. I can't even imagine if I was back on the East Coast and in the Eastern Time Zone. It's ridiculous. You know, wow, our Hall of Fame's kicking off at like midnight. Like, if they're truly worthy of a Hall of Fame, then they're truly worthy of their own night. And I think people would watch it. Put it on YouTube, or ESPN or whatever the hell app they had it on. Just put it on there. You're not.
Or see if you can work a deal with USA where the SmackDown the night before WrestleMania is 2 hours, not 3, and is followed immediately by the Hall of Fame, which is another 2 hours.
That doesn't work either because it all depends on the venue, right? Like, but even still, even if you only do 2 hours,
everybody's got to bounce over to the next. I don't know.
They had that problem a couple of years ago.
Well, you know what? That's why they get paid the big freaking bucks. But they need to figure it out.
Just give it its own night. What does it matter? Yeah. You're selling tickets to WWE World. You have all these effing events. Just have the Hall of Fame have its own damn night. Like, it's not that hard. It's so stupid. Like, and they've been doing it for years now, and it's just like, why are we doing it this way? It's just dumb. But I digress. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Let's
get into WrestleMania Night 1 here. No, but the Cody Punk segment that we just went off on a tangent and lost ourselves. Man, we did. It was like, what a slobber fest. I'm like, this is not what I want to hear tonight. I love you, brother.
We talked about it kind of with Roman Punk on Monday night, where it was just like, you spent all this animosity, and then the last time you guys meet before WrestleMania, you hug it out, kind of, and then like
and then Cody and Punk, who are both champions, they're giving each other the rah-rah speech. Oh, it was
terrible. It was so bad.
They have no chemistry with each other on the mic.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Punk though later on because I have a lot to say about Punk, and surprisingly, it's not negative. So we'll get into it. All right, but let's just get into Saturday. Okay, so first 2 matches are on ESPN, and they did what they needed to do, right? So we kick off the show. We got the Usos and LA Knight against the Vision and IShowSpeed, and this all pretty much went down the way you thought it was going to, and I think it was just designed to be a little bit fun. You get the yeeting coming to the ring, you get all that crap. So it did what it needed to do, and it was kind of a cool entrance for all of them. IShowSpeed's gear was pretty tight, honestly. I liked it a lot, and LA Knight deserved a win. So I'm glad they got the win. I think I got this one wrong in our prediction show, but I don't feel bad about it. The one thing I got right was Speed was going to walk out of there as a face. And he did. You could kind of see it coming, and you were like, yeah, he's going to leave in a face. Great spot, though. Him coming off the ring post and, jumping onto a frog splash and Logan Paul on the announce table. Just...
While they had the drone camera hovering overhead, that was a cool.
The overhead shot was so good.
It was fun, and this is, you're trying to get people that don't normally watch wrestling, like, all right, I'll tune in for an hour on ESPN2 on Saturday night. So it's a good way not only for those people to get introduced and get to see some athleticism, because you saw that, but also it was great for the crowd. Great way to, warm up the crowd, get them going, because most WrestleManias, you have a lot of people filing in. Night 1, pretty good. Night 2, by the time that show started, that place was packed. And that's
Night 2's crowd
they was in early.
Way better than Night 1's crowd. And I don't know why. I'm not going to say why. I don't care. I'm just saying. And I want to say this so I don't have to keep on repeating it. Up until a certain point, Night 1 was pretty decent.
I will agree.
It was good because Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, which was the second match on ESPN, was really effing good.
It was.
And there was nice little storytelling, like the stuff with the toolbox and Drew. I was like, that's a nice callback, And, you and I kind of talked about it because you were off concerting it up at the time. And you were like, was there blood? And I was like, well, no, but it was still a good... unsanctioned match, meaning they did about as much and as well as you could do without drawing blood. And I think that was derived off of them being on ESPN2. They did as much as they could without drawing blood, and it was a good match. It was a really good match. Jacob went over, which was the right answer. But, like, the whole match was just... I was happy with it.
It was.
Yeah.
And the thing was, they inflicted damage on each other in other ways that left, guys both had welts and bruises by the end of the match. So I agree with you. I thought it was well done because if that match isn't in the first hour and that's later in the card, maybe you would have. Yeah. Because
you would have got blood.
I'll put it out here. The medical team was busy this weekend from Friday all the way through Monday.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very much so.
So a lot of stitching and stapling.
Patching it up.
Yeah.
Cut me, Mick. Cut me. All right. So we get...
Great reference.
We get... I know, right?
Hey.
This is what happens when you grow up watching movies your whole life. All right, so we get the Women's Tag Team Championship, so we get the Fatal 4-Way, so we get Bayley and Lyra coming out, we get Charlotte, and Alexa's gear is off the chain. Yeah, somehow I became a fashion critic this weekend, folks. I don't know how it happened. It just happened. So, sorry, not sorry. Alexa's gear was really cool. Charlotte's gear wasn't for me, because I basically said it looked like a box of Fruity Pebbles exploded all over her. But some people were up on it. Irresistible Forces come out. They had the tribute to Demolition, which I thought was pretty cool.
It was. When I first saw it, it was far away, and I'm like, I instantly text, like, what the hell are they wearing? And because I thought at first it looked like something else that I won't say on this podcast, but I'll tell you later, Sean. And then once they zoomed in, I'm like, it's a tribute to Demolition. That's cool. So
yeah, no, it was probably the best
ring
gear I've seen.
It did not look good from far away. I'll say that until the camera panned in closer, and I was like,
oh, that's what you were going for.
Yes.
Then the Bellas come out, and then Nikki announces that she cannot compete. She is not medically cleared as of that morning, which she's been in the boot. She actually had surgery. So she called an old friend, and the old friend turns out to be Paige, which, your typical comeback at WrestleMania thing. And yeah, it was cool. I don't have a problem with the outcome of this match. So bottom line is Brie and Paige win the titles. And I don't have a problem with that because I think there's some meat on the bone for storytelling there, right? Like eventually Nikki is going to get better, but her sister's tag champs with Paige, we'll get all the infighting and all that stuff. So it's going to work out. It's going to be great.
And then you put Paige back into the singles, and you've bolstered your roster by adding her.
I mean, she looked good in the ring.
She did.
Look better than Nikki would have.
I don't know if it was you who said it, but someone said she bulked up a little bit, and she did, because she used to look pretty fragile, and she's definitely. But yeah, she excellent.
She definitely embodies pasty. She's just got that look where she's very Nightmare Before Christmas, like, fairly skinny and translucent.
Yes.
So I was like, but it was good to see her. And honestly, on a nostalgia trip, that made me happier than seeing the Bellas come back.
Yeah.
But she's also been wrestling elsewhere, so, she didn't have as much ring rust.
All right, so this one I thought could have went a little longer. This one they felt like they really cut short. This is one. And I'll be honest, like the opener at 7 minutes was good. Fatu went over 14. This one going 8.5 minutes, it could have used another 3 or 4, I think. There wasn't enough suspense drama. Once Paige came out, everybody's like, oh, they're probably going to win because Paige is back. And they didn't give you a lot of that suspense to put it in doubt. It just felt like it was bing, bang, boo, everybody do your spots. And at the end, Nikki gets the crutch shot. So it never got a chance to really breathe.
No,
it 4 minutes could have done that.
I don't know why everything was so rushed and short, and then the commercials.
So you show more freaking commercials. That's why. Hurry up, wrap it up, ref. Let's go home. So we got to go to the commercial break and show the Hogan documentary preview for the 1,000th time.
I don't know why they had such a hard on. Like, I guess with ESPN, you got to kind of allow it, right? If you're going to be on ESPN, it kind of comes with the territory. On the actual channel, not the app. But, like, this inherent need, like, it got annoying because it took me out of the WrestleMania. Like, we've all been watching WrestleMania for years, and you like those in between, like, yeah, I might run to the bathroom, I might get something to drink, or I might run and do something quick. But, like, it's always wrestling. Like, start to finish, it was always wrestling. Like, the caveats and the little in between stuff, all that stuff. And it was just like, you're taking me out of it. I don't really want to dodge Ram, so I don't necessarily need to see the commercial for the Ram 5,000. If I see a cricket commercial one more time with Jey Uso, I might have to take a hit out on him because, like, I'm tired of that commercial. There was a couple of newer ones too, but
Yeah. So because I watched it on Sunday, the commercial breaks were trimmed down to a minute. And I'm going to bring this back up when we talk about night 2. But I didn't go through the pain of watching it live. But from what I've heard, some of the commercial breaks were like 4.5 minutes long, almost 5.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's always those pauses between the matches. I get that. That's always naturally been there. But again, you just keep on feeding me commercial after commercial after commercial, and it's like, you're taking me out of it. Give me a couple of commercials, come back into like the match preview or something, right? Give me a 2-minute hit piece on why this match is a match.
Right.
WWE does amazing with promo packages. So why are we watching regular commercials and not promo packages? It's just dumb. It's so dumb.
I understand they're going to have commercials, but like, for example, NASCAR, they're not doing a lot of stuff right now. But one thing they do right, instead of going to commercial, like Toyota will like let them go through the commercial and they just focus on the Toyotas during the commercial. And then
just get a big sponsor. Get a big sponsor and like give them one commercial.
They're
and
all
they
over
sponsor
the freaking
that
ring
whole
and
commercial
turnbuckles
break.
and tables and soon to be ring gear and God knows what else. Ring steps. And ring bells.
Pretty soon the refs will be wearing shirts like this with like logos and all sorts of stuff all over it. It'll be great.
Oh, the wrestlers will. And after they win, they have to stand in the ring like, well, I'd like to thank my sponsors. I thank Chevrolet and
I like to thank
WeatherTech,
Goodyear, Wendy's, Kubota,
Summer's Eve.
Quadlock, Safety Culture, Quaker State, Sunoco. Isn't that a contradiction? Anyways. Anyways.
now that that's out of the way, let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah, no shit. Like, right into it. All right, let's move on, man, because we got a lot to talk about. So after that, we get Becky Lynch and AJ Lee with Jessica Carr as the referee, and I love that Jessica Carr keeps on pulling Becky Lynch matches because it just adds a little something there. And like, this is really good for AJ Lee. It was a good match. I love watching Becky work with people. I mean, like, I say it all the time. She gets so much grief and she's not everybody's cup of tea, but damn, she makes everybody look like gold as best as she can.
And the interaction again with Jessica Carr as well. And the great thing about this whole story, Adam Pearce is behind this. It's all Adam Pearce. Because, like, she drives him nuts and she drives Jessica nuts. So Pearce is just going to drive Becky nuts by putting Jessica in that spot.
Well, they made the best out of the botch when AJ Lee had her in her submission move. And, like, Becky's reaching for the rope and AJ Lee kind of fell out of the hold.
Yeah.
But Becky held onto her hair. And it was weird, but they kind of made it work. And I was like, okay. And the whole thing with the turnbuckle. It was great heel work by Becky. AJ Lee doesn't look any softer for it. And honestly, like I'll say it. If you're going to be a part-timer, I don't want you to have the title. Like, it made sense for AJ Lee to have the title for now because it was a short flash to bang. Fine. But if you're not going to be around on the regular, you got to go. You can't have the title. You can show up whenever you want, but you can't have the title. You know, because I don't.
I think her return / nostalgia run, I think has been fine with AJ Lee. For the most part, not the best promo stuff, but overall, I think it's been better than others. So, would I call it stellar? No. But would I call it, it was entertaining. It did what it did. We had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It just the promo stuff was getting kind of stale. So, all right.
But
So
still, at this
we get
point
your,
in the show, things are rolling along, and you're like,
they
but to
are
me,
because we're about to talk about the best match of the night.
but bro, even at that point, it still did not feel like WrestleMania to me. Like Saturday's show, these 4 matches did not feel like WrestleMania. Drew and Fatu got close, but it's just another brawl out of PLE, but it didn't feel WrestleMania-ish.
Nah, it didn't feel huge.
No.
It felt,
And the
yeah.
next match, Gunther and Seth kind of got me in like, okay, now we're starting to feel a little bit like WrestleMania. Like,
it was the match of the night. It was
Yeah.
the match of the night.
I don't know, some
Easily.
people that disagree with you, Sean, on that one, believe it or not. There's people crapping all over this, too.
Really? Like, for what? For
Well,
what? The match
why were
was
they-
good.
Everybody
Like-
knows they were put together because injuries. Like, okay, like, but bell to bell, this was outstanding.
It was fine. I had no problem with it. Like, and the count. Can we stop, take a breath, and talk about how good Seth Rollins really is? Like, can we really talk about how good Seth Rollins is? Because, like, some of the
Sure, you want to talk about how good Seth Rollins is?
oh my god, dude! So over the weekend, like, I've been watching a lot of the media stuff on social media because, like, I find it interesting, you know, and I like watching what the old schoolers have to say, not necessarily the current ones, but like the old school guys. So, like, you know, Cena was doing media rounds the whole week and stuff like that, and somebody asked Cena, he goes, "Who's the top 3 wrestlers that you've gone against?" Right out of his mouth, it was Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins. And then he kind of hemmed and hawed on the third because he didn't want to, like, pick somebody, leave somebody out, blah, blah, blah. You know, but those two, like, came out of his mouth. And he goes, the guy goes, "Well, you said Shawn Michaels without hesitation. Why Shawn Michaels?" And Cena picks up a book and goes, puts the book down. And he goes, "He just made that a champion." And I was like, he was like, the guy is amazing. And he goes, you know, so they're going a little further in the conversation. He goes, Seth Rollins is the same guy. I think that we need to have a very uncomfortable conversation that people will not like me to hear say. Seth Rollins is the modern day Mr. WrestleMania. And he is the modern day Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry. That guy just puts on matches. Big ones, small ones, some as big as your head. It doesn't matter who he's wrestling against. They always look incredible. One funny note, he came out in the smoking jacket. And I sent this clip to y'all where Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are in their room, like, talking about it. And, like, they're like, "Oh, I got this great idea for ring gear." And, like, Woods has got a smoking jacket on, and they see Seth, like, coming out in it. I was like, okay. And a lot of people were like, "Wow, I don't really know what to make of this." And I was like, Seth was in a weird spot for wardrobe, right? So Seth really isn't the king of the mountain right now. And he didn't have a lot of time to build. So he didn't have the opportunity to go, like, full Seth Rollins for gear. Like the full gravitas, right? Because he's worn some outlandish shit.
Yeah, but I think that makes sense because he's going into the ring. He knew who his opponent was, and the outfit kind of matched his opponent. Because
it was cool, especially with the black contacts and everything. It was cool. It was well done. And God, Matt, your boy needs some personality. I get it. He's old school. But, like, watching him come out
he does need some personality.
That 75-yard walk to the ring with him in his intro, it was just like,
yeah, and it's just
boring.
You can only, and he just walks with that condescending glare around the audience. Like, he could talk a little smack, at least engage with the audience somehow,
I don't know, man. It was 75 yards of pain watching him come to the ring. Like, WrestleMania is like how you, like, that's the time, right?
And
there was just, it was just this regular ring intro and the never-ending walk. You know, Seth at least had the smoking jacket, and it was kind of cool, and he's fluffing the jacket to get the smoke out for everybody. It was cool. You know, it was it over the top for Seth Rollins? No, it's probably like his most conservative wardrobe choice in quite a while for WrestleMania, but
I think this new character, Seth Rollins, I think he's evolving again. I don't think you're going to see the flash from Seth Rollins like we saw. I think this is a different Seth Rollins.
I have noticed that he has been all black all the time. Mm-hmm. Is this like the Dark Knight Seth Rollins? Like the Dark Knight, the Batman, you know?
I'm going to let the techie geek, he'll expound on that. I don't know. I just think he's always morphed. Like, what really got me comparing him to Shawn Michaels is when he was it the Monday Night Messiah, when he was when he was the messianic character. And the way he looked, it wasn't the gimmick so much, it's the way he looked and the way he wrestled at the time. And I'm like, my God, that's like the new Shawn Michaels. And, you know, you and I, we used to talk about it. And we used to talk about how much Seth is like Shawn Michaels. So, but yeah,
he really is.
I think he's tweaking his gimmick. Maybe not his character.
I think so.
I think it's a much more serious. I don't think you're going to have the play around Seth Rollins like you had before. I think it's going to be a little darker, a little more violent. Seth Rollins, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be the next evolution. But I also think that he doesn't usually carry on a gimmick past a year. Like, Mania comes, it's kind of the, you know, we're gonna tweak this up. So let's talk about the end.
That's smart. It keeps him fresh, man. You know, like,
I know. So let's talk about the ending. So I didn't like Gunther winning, and some of you are going to go, well, Braun Breaker interfered. He speared Seth. Why would? Here's the problem. It's a Gunther problem. It's not a Seth Rollins problem. Gunther wins too much, and he needed, I called it beforehand in the pre-show, a good loss. And there is such a thing as a good loss. And in a good loss is you go up against a competitor, maybe he slips on a banana peel, but what you did was you took away the possibility of having a narrative that Gunther struggles at WrestleMania. They talked about it, so again, they foreshadowed it and kind of screwed everything up. But if they would have let Gunther lose, it would have kind of made things even worse for Braun Breaker, you know, because obviously Braun Breaker's back now, and he could have done everything that he did to Seth after the fact. And then you just have this narrative with Gunther where you could be like, man, it's WrestleMania time. I don't know. He lost to Jey Uso and freaking Sami Zayn. But he beat Seth Rollins. He beat John Cena. Come on. You could have just kept the WrestleMania, the reverse streak, right? You could have had, you know. And then WWE loves to put caveats on crap, in singles competition. Okay, cool. Reverse. Because, winning with interference is counter to what Gunther is supposed to be. And then we get we did get a good meme out of this match, which is Braun Breaker just chugging down that 75-yard ramp and missing the spear. But
the second time, yeah.
Him running down, and the memes that came out is me when I'm trying to catch the bus. So it's good. I kind of knew this was going to happen, and I was fine with it. So I'm not judging. I'm just all right, cool. Moving on. This is one of those things where it's okay, we know this is going to be a thing, and it's just going to keep going. So
all right, we're five matches in. How you feeling about night one?
I'm cruising, man. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I got championship matches.
Normal. Yep. You're drinking at a moderate pace. You're not angry drinking yet.
Nope. But then we get into the last two matches. Well, we're going to talk match. We're going to talk attendance announcement, but not for the attendance announcement. Then we'll get into the last match. Okay. Liv Morgan and Stephanie McMahon. Matt, you are our official timekeeper. How long did this match go?
I had it at 6:51.
6 minutes and 51 seconds for your Women's World Championship. 6 minutes and 51 seconds. With shenanigans on top of that. Ugh. Like, I do appreciate that Liv Morgan in the post show leaned into it, and she's like, everybody's saying that I needed help. You're damn right I do. Cool. Way to own it. I appreciate that. But we didn't get...
It kind of felt like Vakir got a little buried.
She did.
Not that she lost, but that she lost that quick.
It just, I don't... And then, like, that was somebody in writing going, well, there'll be interference, so she'll be protected. And it's like, not really, homie. You know, so... I don't know.
Just the match could have been, with those two, it should have been so much better. And it was just, the match itself, it never got going because it didn't have enough time to get going. It was it was back and forth. There wasn't a story being told in that ring because it was like, okay, we'll go back and forth for like 3-4 minutes and then they'll come down and interfere and then we'll go right to oblivion.
It just, I don't know.
It was trash.
It was shit.
It was
shit.
Yeah.
And it like put a bad taste in my mouth, and we're all kind of sitting there on the live, and we were like, okay. And then to make things worse, like Liv came out to the ring to whatever the F her song is.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
We're gonna hear it every freaking week and on PLEs.
No, she came out on Monday to her normal song.
Did she?
She came out to her. Yep. I was attuned to that.
Okay, because I missed her entrance. That's right. Okay. I thought, so that was just for WrestleMania weekend. We don't have to.
Hopefully not.
Gosh.
It was.
I didn't like her entrance at all. It was terrible. When we get to the end of night two, I'll tell you what my favorite entrance was for the weekend.
I'm interested to hear that. All right.
Because entrances matter, damn it.
At Mania, they do. SummerSlam, they do too.
Yeah.
So, between this and the last match of the night, Cena comes out to do the attendance announcement. By the way, he did a really good job of hosting, by the way.
He did.
Credit to him. Usually the host just doesn't resonate. He did a really good job of hosting. Because he actually made hosting matter.
Cena the wrestling fan, not John Cena the character hosting. There was no evidence of the character at all.
No.
It was just John Cena, like the kid from Massachusetts.
No, he was living his best life, but we'll get into it when night two.
Yes,
he was living his best life. But, he makes the attendance announcement. Then Bianca Belair's music hits. And she comes out to the ring, and we're like, one thing I noticed, the ponytail's gone. So, interesting. But, so she comes to the ring, and we find out they expecting. So not just the broken finger, but apparently we were taking advantage of our downtime for reasons. And
that's a hell of a way to rehab a finger, isn't it?
Hey, as somebody that was stationed in Fort Drum for many a year, that got snowed in quite a bit, there's not a lot of stuff to do.
Just think of how many kids you would have had if you weren't deployed all the time.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why...
Thank God for war. Sorry. Thank God for
That's why the snip exists. Vasectomies for the win. But there you go, folks. Your TMI moment brought to you by WeatherTech Goodyear. Wait, no. This is wrestling. Wait, it's the same thing now.
And Matt said he loves war. I'm triggered. Oh, wait, that's another podcast.
We're just checking all the boxes today. Just set everybody off.
Love you, Nick.
All right.
Timestamp is.
All right. So let's get into it. The most overbooked and nonsensical match of the night. With a caveat. All right. So this match kicks off and we kind of clear the decks right away. Check. Thank you. Thank you, Jelly Roll. Thank you, Pat McAfee, for your time. Yay. We don't have to worry about that shit. Like, everybody's been fretting about it, and now we've cleared the deck. Now it's just Randy Cody.
That was a good
match,
thing. Even the boys on Busted Open were all talking about, like, they enjoyed that part with the Pat and Jelly Roll thing because it got it all out of the way.
Yeah, well, you couldn't not acknowledge it, and you didn't want it later in the match. Sort of.
And it got the crowd. It got the crowd up too. Got the crowd up.
The crowd got what they wanted. They were not feeling Pat McAfee. You did like Pat McAfee's intro for Randy.
Loved it. It was good. So I watched a lot of the social media stuff with Cody destroying Pat's office and Pat on his show talking stuff and a lot of the backstory. It was a lot of fun. I think people got to look back and say, it wasn't that bad. There was some fun to it. Pat kind of said some truths in all his promos, and then he was playing the fans. Hey, and then he gets stretchered out and does the Mike Utley, the thumbs up, and then burp. I was like, cool.
Yep. No, there was a lot of nice little stuff in there, and the match between Randy and Cody is fine, except I get it. Randy knows how to sell the back better than anybody in the business. The fact that we went injury angle so early in this damn match.
Well, it was before the bell rang. It was Michael Cole talking during like the ring intros that Randy supposedly had a back issue. And I'm like, here we go. But here's the thing. Could we waited more than 2 or 3 minutes? Like you had the crowd up. And all of a sudden they go right to the back injury and like work slow and they lost the crowd for like a long time.
No, they did. And the crowd rightfully sat on their hands. It was frustrating because like Randy's matches are starting to get a little repetitive, right? Like, I dig my back. And again, he's the master of selling it. But like, I dig my back. Okay. And then it just drags out and it makes the match slower. And, we got to the end of this and I'm just sitting there like, so shenanigans happen. Your favorite ref that takes bumps is the ref, Charles Robinson. And we get all this lunacy go out. Randy eventually ends up RKOing Pat McAfee. I think he got blinded at one point. RKO'd the ref, whatever, overbooked to all hell and back. McAfee comes out to kind of save the day, so apparently what you heard was correct, and he's like a reserve ref or something like that. And we go through all this horse shit, and Cody wins. Now, rumor mills, I can't confirm or deny because I don't know anybody. Rumor mill has it that Randy was originally supposed to win, but because they were going to go along with it, they decided to put Cody over.
Yeah,
this makes no sense.
I heard
because
it was late, like Friday night, like I was hearing like after Hall of Fame ceremony late that night. I guess they sat around and came with that decision. So
I think that it's the wrong decision. Here's what you did by not having Randy come over. You RKO'd Pat during the match, which means if Randy would have went over, you still didn't have to deal with Pat McAfee, but you could have hit that a little later down the road if you want, break glass in case of emergency. Now you close that door. That's done. He said he was leaving. He announced he's leaving. He's done. Then Randy does all his post-match shit, and I made the argument that Randy doing that in a win as a sore winner would have been much more impressive and better for his character than him just doing it after Cody won. Now he punted Cody. Now Cody, I think, is legit on IR, for a lack of a better way of putting it. He's down for the count for a little bit. Like, he's showing up, but he ain't right. Even Monday night, he wasn't right.
No.
I don't think it was just the orbital bone. I think he might have a little bit of scrambling right now.
Yep. Yeah, because he well, I don't want to jump ahead, but he did not sound like Cody Monday night. And I think too there's some legitimacy to Randy's back. I wouldn't be surprised. And
I wonder, whatever.
So I wonder if they played that into the whole thing. Whatever. At some point they'll run it back. It just.
I don't really care. It is what it is. It fine. If it's his back, it's his back. Because we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get a new theme coming up between Raw and Night 2. Any other thoughts on Night 1?
Again, it should have felt like WrestleMania. Even the main event. Okay, it felt WrestleMania-ish with the celebrities and all that stuff. But once the match got going, it got so slow. I mean, did it pick up once, Randy got posted and busted open and the fans pop and now they kind of started working? The match itself wasn't horrible, but with those two, it should have been way better. Way better.
Is it just because there was no sense of urgency in anything that night? Like nothing outside of outside of Seth and Gunther where they were kind of counter and like Drew and Jacob, which it felt like, they're legitimately getting into it, but they're staying in the ring, whatever. But like throughout the night, there was no sense of like urgent. It was Night 1 felt like an exhibition.
You had a lot of outside interference, way too much. You had 7 matches, at least 4 had outside interference, if not. Becky and Lee, 4 of them. Still, it was a lot of that. You had a lot of ref bumps and interference, and some of the refs are like, why the hell are they even out there? They don't follow the rules. Again, I love Gunther Seth. I agree. I think Gunther for his character needed to lose. But again, this is my recap notes. It's like 3 sentences I put. Night 1 started off good. Gunther Seth was awesome. I said way too much outside interference. I'm fine with it in a match or two, but over half the matches had outside interference or ref bump or both. Drew and Jacob was fun, just didn't have that WrestleMania feel. And so I gave the Night 1 overall, and this is kind of tough for me, I gave him a C. For Night 1, I get a C.
I think it was fair. I think that there was a lot of, I don't want to say swing and a miss, but just not there. So, now that we're past Night 1.
All right, everybody. Come on. Deep cleansing breaths, do whatever. Meditate, light your incense candles.
We're going to get into Night 2.
And we're about to change the mood in the room.
But yes, we are, because Night 2 definitely felt like WrestleMania. Night 2 is how WrestleMania is. Night 2 was awesome. I love Night 2. I cannot believe that they crapped the bed on one night and knocked it out of the park with another. All right, let's start it off, man. It started off with Brock Lesnar and Femi, and this didn't go long. It didn't need to go long. There's something with this. Friend. There's something with the Brock Femi build and even the match. 1 minute in, I was texting you guys and I was like, they're telling a story already. The fact that Oba could counter Brock power for power, it was such a great story. And you have to stop and think, we've all seen enough Brock Lesnar matches where it's Brock comes in, Brock destroys guy, you know what I mean? They lock up and Brock just flings them across the ring. Yeah, nothing that Brock typically does worked. And the match was kind of short and sweet, but everything mattered. Every little mood, every bug that Matt chases around, every little thing in this match was just, everything mattered. And it was all just sentences in the story, and it was so good. And then Brock gets the F5 and you're like, okay. And Ova's already crawling up. And it was so well done. So well done. Ova ends up getting the win. And then we all get shocked because Brock takes off his gloves, takes off his shoes, busts a few tears, hugs Paul Heyman, threw up the X, and Brock Lesnar, it looks like he retired.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was wonderful.
And I think Brock Lesnar is the type of person that if he says he's done, he's done.
We'll see.
I think he's done.
This is pro wrestling. Who knows? But I agree. I think it's done.
I think he's done.
We were talking about this. This was the match that I was looking forward to the most for both nights. To me, this was the match of the card. The build was so well done. It was just simple. Brock Lesnar had an open challenge. Femi's like, I want to be that guy. And then they just built it from there. Some wild brawls, some physicality. Yeah, I liked it. I just liked the test of strength at the beginning, the balancing for position. And then people would say, well, Oba kind of killed Brock by no-selling the F5. He did not no-sell the F5. Like, he went down.
No, because he crawled. He
did.
Crawled up. He crawled to all fours.
Yeah, it took him a minute to get up. But it was just...
Well, because it was so well told because, like, Brock was doing typical Brock celebrating, right? He's like, I F5'd the dude. Where's he going? And Oba's like crawling, trying to get his senses back, and it's just so well done. And the fact that every little thing, Paul Heyman being out there, I'm pretty sure Brock is done. And
Paul was a mess. That was all organic.
Yeah,
Brock
and there was
never shows emotion. You never saw him on TV showing emotion, and like he showed a lot of it. I mean, come on, the dude's blowing kisses to the crowd. That is the most un-Brock Lesnar thing we've ever seen him do.
He was going up the ramp, dropping the thank you.
Yeah.
To everybody. No,
touching his heart. Yeah. You just don't deviate that much from the character that's been on TV for over 20 years, and you get to see that Brock Lesnar. He's not coming back. That's it. Now he's going to go back up on his farm and raise cattle, eat lots of steaks.
And if the little rumor birdies are true, he was not like. I think it was pitched to him for him and Gunther to retire him, and he was like, "Fuck you, no, I'm Brock Lesnar. I'm going out my way." And I think he put Femi over, and I think he saw a somewhat kindred spirit, if you will, like in wrestling character terms. And I think he did the thing for Oba, and I think he went, I'm going out on my terms.
Yep.
And he did.
And I think
I'll respect that.
The fact that Oba's like a great collegiate athlete too, I think that means something to Brock. You know, because Brock was a NCAA champion, and so was Oba's a SEC record holder. So I think there's that level there. This was just absolutely perfect. I wouldn't have changed a thing. I wouldn't have.
Me neither.
I would have it go a second shorter or a second longer, and then and that was great enough. But when Brock just sat there and started taking off his gear, I'm like, oh,
you have to put this in context though too, right? That's on ESPN, like the ESPN, not the Ocho, not the Dos, the actual ESPN. And like, I think it was just the perfect storm for Brock Lesnar, and he just said, I'm there.
Well, I think I was messaging you about it. Like, Lesnar beat Undertaker and ended the streak. He beat the streak at WrestleMania. His match with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania was huge. He had a lot of big, the triple threat with Seth Rollins, when Seth Rollins cashed in the briefcase, He always had huge moments, so it just makes sense for him to retire. No,
it was, like I said, it was the perfect storm. You know what else was the perfect storm? This 6-man ladder match. So, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, Rusev, JD McDonagh, and Penta all in this match. And it was funny. You guys were on the live, and you're like, hey, are you going to come on? I was like, I can't sit down right now. Like, I was standing up for Brock Oba, and then, like, the ladder match kicked off, and I'm just pacing everywhere because the people in this ladder match are all people I know, that do really cool stuff, but also take some egregious bumps. So there's a few times where I'm kind of doing this, watching, you know what I mean? Like, hand on the face, but kind of obscuring myself because, boy, even
Rusev took a brutal bump. Took a West Coast
the Mexican Destroyer on the ladder, the West Coast Pop on the ladder. There was just so much stuff. And, Rusev getting pulled off the ladder by Javon Evans and the super cutter. Oh my God,
JD's
dude.
Spanish Fly.
And then, what was it? Like, Rey Mysterio had Deadpool gear. Penta had, was it Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat?
Sure.
Yeah, it was like Shang Tsung.
That's your lane.
I looked at it. I was just like, oh, we're getting Bushido Penta. I was like, all right, cool. You know, it was all cool.
This is my notes for the match. Can't really follow this action. There's so much going on. Penta's hitting destroyers everywhere. JD Spanish Fly, my God, just fun. Penta retains, grade A-. There you go. You couldn't call it. Poor Michael Cole.
Oh my God, dude. It was just so much going on, and it was a spot fest, which is awesome. You know, I appreciate Mikey being honest. He's like, I'm a spot monkey. I'm all about this. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be good. And it delivered.
It's okay, like, to have a spot. Like, you knew this was going to be a spot fest, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you went into it. Well, that's why everybody was looking at Rusev like, Rusev? Really? You know, like,
Rusev looked pretty strong. I give him credit. He kept up.
Well, they kind of tipped their hand a little bit, like the night before, or the last time we saw him, where he kind of just mangled people a little bit. And you're like, okay, that's what Rusev's bringing to the match. And then, like, he kind of did. He was the, like, what do you call it in science? Like, you know, the control group. Like, Rusev was the control group, right? Like, he's the slow and steady, like, heavy hitter. And, like, everybody else is just, like, woo, going everywhere like a box of Pop Rocks. There was so much I loved about this thing. I love, like, we got the Rey Mysterio springboard entrance. Oh my God. I loved everything about this match, and I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I do wince because, like, I love me some Javon Evans, but man, there's sometimes he just overflies, and I'm just like,
yeah.
And there was a couple of wicked bumps in there, like even the Spanish Fly from JD McDonagh, but like the Canadian Destroyer on the ladder, the pop up. It was just great. It was just so great, and I had fun. I had fun with it, and I was really happy with it.
Really
creative,
and
like I said,
really
at this point, we're all looking at each other like, Night 2 is whooping Night 1's ass. And it was without a doubt, Night 2 was whooping Night 1's ass.
We still had a little bit of skepticism because we knew we had the main event to come, and we were concerned about Rhea and Jade. But we'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to.
Well, I know you're going to want to. I was going to say, I knew you were going to talk.
We're going to talk some whoop that trick, buddy. My God. Sammy comes out. Nobody likes Sammy, and he kind of came out.
Not even the writer dies.
And he kind of came out boring for Sammy. Like, it was just underwhelming. But I think it was all part of his character development. Trick comes out, and Trick has an entrance that I think even Seth Rollins was like, "Shit, what the hell, man?" Trick has a train behind his coat that went the whole 75 yards. He had to stop so they could reload the next part of the train because it was binding up. It was such an interesting entrance, and I'm just like, how the hell is he going to get out of this thing? Like, it was so good. I didn't get what I wanted because I wanted the rotating platform coming up as an elevator. So, like, he's coming up on stage and rotating at the same time.
Beam of light coming out with him, right? Like a big beam of light with him.
Like, shooting up, he's coming up through the stage. This is what I envisioned for him. I wanted a rotating platform, him coming up, and then, like, he locks in and is fully up right when he throws his hands up and all the lights kick on. That's what I wanted. But the 75-yard train was almost as good. And I was joking because I wanted Chelsea Green to kind of do the Chris Jericho list. Now, apparently he's doing it again in AEW, so obviously that's off the table. But when I said I wanted Chelsea Green to do it, his train is what I wanted Chelsea Green's list to be.
Yeah.
I have a list, and it goes 75 yards. But, like, no, great entrance. Great match. I had so much fun with this. I like Little Yachty. He added something to it.
Great hype, man.
It was worthwhile. But, like, he took his shots, and they look good. And it worked. And Trick going over was just the right call. Because, like, I said it all week, like, and I get it, I fanboy about Trick Williams, but, like, it's been a long time since I've seen a wrestler come up, and, like, I had no idea. I knew he existed. That was it. So, like, when he hit main roster, like a few months ago, and I just was like, he's got something. He's got it. And, and I've been engrossed with him ever since because his character sucks me in, his ring antics. But man, he was on Media Row all this week, and he was just carrying the water, man. And he was doing great. He was doing more external stuff for WWE than people seem to realize. And then last night, I was kind of scrolling through during Raw on social media, and I was actually seeing like the post-show, like post-party and stuff like that. And it was like him, Femi, Lash Legend, all just tooting and hollering it up. And like even his like the post-show interview was great too.
Yeah.
Zayn needed to lose. All those people going like, it should have been Carmelo Hayes. It's like, man. Listen, we really need, and well, we'll get into it in Raw. I'm not going to go down this road yet, but we're going to talk about something really important.
Here's my thing.
Not ready to say I'm 100% right.
Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I'm not ready to say I'm 100% right, but I'm feeling really good about a prediction I made. But we'll get into it with Raw. But continue.
If they would have made that a triple threat and you would have added Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams goes over, it would have hurt Carmelo Hayes. Well, he didn't eat the pin. Like, they would have had, Trick could have pinned Sammy, but it's another L for Carmelo Hayes. And the thing is, everybody wants Trick and Carmelo Hayes. Like, it's coming. It's coming to,
Fine wine, man. Like, let it breathe.
Yep. Yeah.
Sniff the cork. It's okay. It's coming.
Like dry aging a steak, you just gotta be patient. Let it do its thing.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm real happy that Trick went over. I'm real happy how everything played out. At this point in the show, I'm just like, night 2 wins. Night 1. Did night 1 happen? I don't know. Was it just SmackDown continues? I don't know. But night 2 is awesome. Yeah. And then to add to that,
the commercial breaks were shorter and less frequent too.
I did notice that.
I think
the show flowed.
I think WWE kind of listened to the negative stuff they heard after night 1 and made some adjustments.
I think it was by design.
You think?
I'm going to tell you right now.
You think night 1 is like all the cinema and all the silliness, like for the casual fans, but night 2 is for like us hardcore fans that we just want a damn good wrestling show and we want it to feel like WrestleMania.
But there's no reason why night 1 couldn't have been as good as night 2. Like, you just chose not to make it that way. But I digress. So, we get 2 of the coolest entrances of the night. So, we get Dom, the king of the luchadors, coming out on a throne, no less. Like, great entrance. Again, Sean became a fashion critic because I'm like, can we just get him gear that fits right? It looked like he was wearing floor mats that were sewn together. And I get it, it's a shtick, but like, bro, it was rough. But like the whole King of the Luchador thing was kind of cool. But whoo, Demon comes out and the beating heart, the streamer, great entrance.
I'll just say it now, that was my favorite entrance of the weekend. That was great.
I think so. It might be mine. That one was just... It was so over the top, and it made me happy. I like Finn Balor a lot. I've liked Finn Balor for a long time. Like, pre-Judgment Day, like, last time he was a face, I love Finn Balor.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he got a moment like this. It was for the fact that I like that they announced it, only in the fact that it gave us the moment that Dominic got the opportunity to go, I signed up to fight Finn Balor, not the Demon. Perfect heel work. Perfect heel work for the type of heel that Dominic is. And, like, Dominic looked good in the ring. The whole match worked. Good flow to the match. Everything made sense. Dom crying that it got made into, a street fight and all this other, whatever. Perfect. Perfect.
I loved I loved it. It was a good street fight. What I liked is, there was weapons used, but 90% of the action was inside the ring. So I liked that part. It didn't go all over the arena that much. Like it stayed in the ring. They had their fun.
Both street fights did that, though.
Yeah.
Both street fights stayed fairly in the ring. So, all right. So we get to what was probably the weakest match of the night, but it was still really good. And that was Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley goes over, but this is the best I ever seen Jade look in a match.
Agreed.
And the match never clunked. Not once. It flowed. And I was so happy because I was really worried about this match because, like, a lot of Jade's matches have this natural kind of clunkiness to it as we go through it. And this one was just so clean. There was great counters in this. You know, we got a little bit of Io Sky, who was fighting off possible wardrobe malfunctions. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, the outside of the shenanigans, that did really distract from the match. It didn't throw up the time, and it was really good. And Rhea needed to go over. They need to reset that. I don't think Jade still not ready to hold that world title, I don't think. Maybe if we build up the roster, you throw it back in, but that's a tough spot until they build up that women's roster for any champion. But
that's what I was gonna go with, right? Like, I think we got to be a little cautious here because how do I put this? You're only as good as your heel, right? The face is only as good as their heel, or vice versa. And I don't think the SmackDown women's roster is up to that level. Rhea was probably the biggest star that they had, and they had to import her from Raw. And we get a moment about that on freaking Raw, but neither here nor there. But no, it did great. Rhea goes over. I'm fine with it. And again, we're 5 out of 6 matches in at this point. Night one's a distant memory, and I'm just happy content as a pig and shit and just chilling and riding this show.
But
man.
I'm still waiting for the wet fart. I'm sitting there like the show is great, but like you said, when is the wet fart? When's the bottom gonna fall out? And then John Cena came out again, and then we had more fun.
Oh my god! I have watched this from so many angles, so many ways. And like, I actually showed somebody at work today this, because, we were talking about it and I was like, man, it's been a busy weekend. He's like, oh, that's right. It was WrestleMania, and I was like, yeah, it's been a weekend. And I showed him the full, like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of Danhausen coming out, Miz demanding I need my WrestleMania moment. Cena played it perfectly. He's like, all right, Mike. And he's like, he looked at Kit Wilson. He's like, and you are beautifully done. So that whole thing was great. And then Miz demanding his thing. Danhausen hits. Because at this point, I'm like, are we really going to go this whole effing weekend, like, without Danhausen? Only because you want to talk about all right. This guy, I get it. It's not everybody's shtick. But listen, folks, listen to my words. I cannot stress this enough. Danhausen is the credit card machine for the WWE. He is the moneymaker. I get it, all the other wrestlers. But the one demographic that never WWE's been chasing forever? Kids. And boy, has he got the kids around his little finger. The kids love Danhausen. And I told the story on one of our last pods. Like, my daughter, who is not a huge wrestling fan, it took me 3 clips of Danhausen. 3. And she goes, I love that guy.
Yeah.
And she's a teenager. She's 13. She goes, that guy's hilarious. I love that guy. Kids are dressing up like him. Right before we went on to the podcast, I was scrolling through our X feed. I saw the greatest video, Danhausen interacting with a kid that uses sign language and crap. And bro, the guy is a credit card machine for WWE. And like, we
John
also got to remember,
posted it was one of his favorite all-time WrestleMania moments that he was in. Like, he had such a good time.
So much worked in that, right? Like, there was so much for both adults and kids because, first off, the midgets, And Michael Cole gave us permission to say that, so we're not being offensive, because he asked them earlier, blah, 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 blah. Like, I hate that we live in a society that we have to quantify shit like that, but whatever. So the midgets come out, and you're just like, oh my God, this is already hilarious. He comes out in the car that's a coffin. Also hilarious. We get down to the ring. You know, they're all lined up in the ring. You know, Cena's just over there like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden he goes, I need to talk to you. And he points to Cena. He's like, you know, he's like, damn glad to meet you. Big fan, house, and love everything you do. And like, I was just like, oh my God, this is so hilarious.
I forgot about that because I keep thinking about the stuff with him and The Miz and Kit Wilson. And I forgot,
but it was so great because then Miz loses his crap. He's like, why are you shaking his hand? And like, he gets Kit Wilson to drop the "You Are Toxic" and he shoves one of the midgets. And he's like, Danhausen's like, hey, don't put your hands on him. And then he's like, what are you going to do about it? And like, Danhausen, I forget the guy's name. He's like, get him. Like the guy walks up, Kit Wilson's doing his dance. He just
right in the dick.
Dick punches the Kit Wilson. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is like, and like, listen.
Kit's legit selling. He doesn't have to act after that punch.
As somebody that's in the age, listen, if you grew up in the America's Funniest Home Videos generation and grew up watching that or seen it, you know, any video that involves like a guy getting whacked is funny. Sorry, not sorry. Like, you know,
Until
the little kid who's playing T-ball.
You, and then it's not funny.
Yeah.
No, it's horrible.
My son and my daughter at one point in their lives used to be perfect height to run smack dab right in whack me. But like they were like just that right height. They'd be like, Dad, what? You know. But so that goes on. Danhausen calls for the dog pile, which is great. So now they're all dog piling on him. In the meantime, Miz turns around trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like Danhausen punches him. So he's down. He's rolling out of the ring. Now all the midgets are carrying Miz out up the ramp. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is losing its shit. And then like he has this awkward moment where like he's sitting there staring at Cena and you're like, okay, now what? And he drops the "you don't see me" and he kicks off the smoke bomb and he doesn't go anywhere. Like Cena's like, what the hell? So he scurries out, and we all see him. I get that it's part of Danhausen's shtick, right? Like, he tries to get away, but he never really does.
Yeah.
And he's, like, crawling under the ring, and you could just tell Cena was working so hard to keep it straight, and he was done at the end. He was like, retirement's awesome. Like, it was such a great moment, because if y'all want to see it, man, just go to the live. Because I don't think anybody was actually on camera because everybody was like literally falling over laughing during this whole sequence.
Yeah, Michael Cole was in hysterics. He thought it was the greatest thing he ever seen.
But I'm saying you had four grown men on camera Sunday watching this, all dying.
Oh yeah,
I was dying. I was done. And I got a camera that follows me, and the camera couldn't even keep up because I was like. I was just done. It was so hilarious. And it was great because it was like, I always refer back to, because you had the best analogy for it, which is Danhausen is a palate cleanser. He's that little bit of sherbet you get, you know, to kind of reset, right? And it was the perfect time to do that. And it was the perfect reset switch to kind of, all right, now we're going to go into this title match. Great intros from Roman. Like the intro from Roman was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Even Punk's intro was really good too. Because they did the whole initial promo. He actually walked out and they didn't kick in his music until he said it's clobbering time. So well done. And this match started off slow and it kind of went slow a little longer than I would have liked. Because it got to a point where I was just like, can we kick it up one gear? Like a little? Just, can we pick it up just a little bit, boys? You know, and like we got through it. But no, it was a great match, great storytelling. Roman wins clean, and wins by himself. That's a big deal.
Yes.
Now a lot of us kind of instantaneously went into the
title's held hostage. What's going to happen now? Like, there goes the belt.
Until the post show when he basically says, I'm going to be here all the way through the summer. And you're like, okay. Like, people need to realize that, like, I think one of the biggest problems people had with Roman winning was the concern that the title was going to disappear. And
we're not getting that, we hope. I hope he's there all the time, like Punk is. Not Roman Reigns all the time, which is once every 3 weeks. Like, no, be there every week. 3 out of 4 weeks you need to be there. The pacing was slow at the beginning, but, they ended up going just under 34 minutes. But once it got going, it was good. You know what we didn't have? We didn't have 17,000 Superman punches and,
no.
200 spears.
No, they gassed each other out.
We didn't have 10 go to sleeps. Like, it was just like it was a war of attrition until Reigns just hits him with a spear. That's all it was. I mean,
well, he was already gassed though. He couldn't do it, and it was it was so well done.
That's what made it really good.
That was written. So 2 producers on that title match, and that was Michael Hayes and Bobby Roode.
And Paul Heyman had
Bobby Roode.
Unofficially, because they never put Paul's name on credits for a match, but behind the scenes, Paul Heyman, I think, was also involved in that match, as well as Femi, and I think Gunther and Seth he was involved in too. I watched a lot of frickin' YouTube crap on Monday and today. More Monday than today. Like, now I need a break.
All I know is I've heard a lot of good things about Bobby Roode backstage, and that kind of resonated with me. And I know Michael Hayes gets a lot of crap. The guy knows his shit. Like, a lot of the good matches that you see have Michael Hayes' name on it.
Bro, we've been talking 2 months. We've been crapping on this feud. Like, we're not excited about it. And
no.
I mean, I thought the match was really good. I mean, it was
a good match.
The pacing was slow at the beginning, but then it made sense as the match went along. Because you said, okay, now not only going long, which is in 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, they're going 30 plus. Like, grab your drink and sit down. This is going for a while. And it kept slowly building and building until the end. They were just, neither one of them had nothing left. Like, it was a war of attrition.
That. It was so well done.
They get up and then they collapse again. They hit a move and they couldn't follow up. It was excellent.
And
Roman looked great. Roman actually wrestled. Like, he did.
Yes.
It wasn't just power stuff. Like, he actually had to work. They had some different stuff where they were working the choking the Anaconda Vice. That segment where they're just going between choke and Anaconda Vice and counter, and I'm just like, why can't we see more of that from Roman? Like, Roman can really work. It's like Hogan. Hogan was the same way, punch, kick, body slam, and then you watch him in Japan, and like, why can't Hogan work like that in the States? Like,
Roman looked so much better. That is probably the first Roman Reigns match in a long time where I watched and I was like, I'm enjoying this. Because to your point, a lot of his stuff, we're going to talk about Roman more, so I don't want to belabor the point.
Right.
The biggest thing that came out of this after he won, though, was the post show when he's like, I'm going to be there the whole time, full time through the summer. Understand that.
And then he made his billion dollar
caveat.
Check. How about the $1 billion check statement?
No, he just. It was really well done.
Yeah.
But again, I want to stress that because there's a lot I'm harsh on Roman Reigns for, but some of that was they had to make that title he just won. They had to make because he held the other 2 hostage. Like, keep that in mind. And it wasn't being represented. You know what I mean? I hate to say it. If you win 2 titles, you probably got to work twice as hard. Just saying.
Agreed.
So it it kind of like, you know, so him saying, I'm going to be around, cool. And I hope you are. So, Matt, closing thoughts on WrestleMania as a whole and night 2.
I would say since they went to the two night format, this might have been the single best night I've seen. And actually, as a standalone, it was a fantastic show. This whole show felt like WrestleMania. There was never any part where, oh, this could have been on XYZ show or this could have been on SmackDown. Like, everything was just hyped right, executed right. Every match felt big. If you're a wrestling fan, Sunday night was a wrestling fan's dream, I think.
I agree. It was well done. It was really well done. So, I'm not going to belabor the point. There was a lot of good stuff.
You're not going to believe me saying it? I'm kind of glad Roman went over. It's a fresh now with the condition, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. That's all I wanted. I was like, show up to work.
And then Femi challenges Roman Reigns at the post show. So I'm like,
yeah, I don't want to get into all the post show stuff because like the fans were kind of being annoying and a little over the top, and it's just like, bro,
just the thought of Oba Roman at SummerSlam, ooh, it gets
too soon. Too soon.
Do you think? I don't know.
Too soon because
that could be the guy that you. Well, Roman said he's going to be here all summer. That's getting towards the end of summer, so.
Nah.
You don't think SummerSlam?
But we're gonna get into. Let's get into Raw because, and I'll touch on it at the right time. So speaking of Femi is the first person to come out for Raw, and again, short and sweet and to the point, man. I am here.
Ruler has arrived.
Yep. I loved it. Loved it. And I've heard enough of Femi to know that there's more behind that, or more behind him. So I'm not worried about Femi, and I'm really happy about it. So I'm not going to belabor it because it was short and sweet to the point, but the whole your ruler has arrived and mic drop. Okay, cool.
The fans
apparently it was supposed to be longer. That's all you needed.
No,
he's over.
The fans were gaga as soon as the lights went down. His music hit. They were out of their minds anyway. I would love to go to a live event just to see the Oba entrance in itself, just to experience that. That's got to be. Yeah, that's.
So we get Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defeating the Kabuki Warriors. I don't want to talk about the match much, but I think this does a lot. So we get a promo package from the Kabuki Warriors. So, and then later on, we get a backstage thing between, kind of Rhea and Io having to go their separate ways because Rhea's got to go to SmackDown. Io's got to stay on Raw, so now she's going to have to deal with the Kabuki Warriors on her own, blah, 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 blah. So I like that this match kind of closed the chapter a little bit, but it kind of set up all this, other story. It set up Io's story, right? And Io's story's been kind of on the pot, slow boiling for a while now. It's the crock pot of the story, you know what I mean? We're slow cooking this one, and that's fine. That is fine.
Nope, I'm fine with it too.
I
thought we were going to see a little bit more of the split between Asuka and, Asuka was berating.
No, they're doubling down. They're doing the senpai stuff, and I was like, okay, that's a way. You guys are going to notice that we're going to we're not blasting through Raw, but we're going to hit the wave tops on this because there's some stuff that we got to dig deeper on. And one of the things that we have to dig deeper on
already, so we'll try not to keep you here all night.
It's Mania. It's our, we started at Mania. We're still going after Mania. So Cody Rhodes, CM Punk comes out and drops probably my favorite promo for him since he's been back. And he had no promo to drop on anybody, but he basically dropped the weights off my chest, baby, kind of promo. And I was like, that's really clever. And you could feel that he wasn't restricted. Does that make sense? He literally exuded freedom in that promo. And it was basically him going, I can do whatever the hell I want. I only got that title because I was ready to go. You know what I mean? And I was like, Well played. Well played. And then Cody comes out. Obviously, the eye is effed up, right? On Cody.
You think?
First off. Yeah.
That looked horrible.
And then Cody was having problems talking.
He had in his forehead, you could see the bruises from where the laces on Randy's boot caught him. You saw it more the night of, but they're still there. Like, I mean, Randy kicked.
I'm looking at the picture right now of it, and like, holy crap. But yeah, it was rough to see Cody, but I like what they set up. I think they put in everybody back at everybody's heads. Punk's gonna go over and F with Cody, and I like it because I think for Punk, I think that's smart. Punk messes with Cody, and if Cody's kind of on the shelf, I think you kind of nudge that into a thing, and then you can have Randy Punk, which I would also enjoy seeing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's a lot there that's more intriguing, you know, so
now we're an hour in, and I felt underwhelmed a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, I really did like Punk's promo, though. I like Punk's promo. It felt, for Punk, it felt like a turning of the page, right? Like, and that's what you want the Raw after Mania to be, right? Like, we're turning the page now. We're on to the next part of the book, or the next chapter, the next book in the series, whatever. And Punk's promo was the first, and kind of Rhea and EO too. Like, all right, we're kind of moving forward now. All right, we're hitting the reset switch. Some stuff carries over, but not all of it. And Punk did a really good job of flipping the page. And, you know, I'm glad for that. So,
speaking of page,
yes, we get our call up. We get Ethan Page got called up, newest addition to the Raw roster, and he has a match with Javon Evans. Look, I have said that I'm going to get into my prediction now. I have said that this year it was a transitional Mania. I think if you look at the roster right now and where we're going now, we haven't even done SmackDown yet. We haven't even done Raw next week because more people are coming. The youth movement is here. The youth movement is here. You're going to have a couple of the crusty old timers floating around doing their own thing, but the youth movement is here. The new generation, this next era is here. Trick Williams, 1. Femi, 1. Ethan Page, revealed. Javon Evans, looked like a star and is a star. You know, there's a lot of the youth that are coming up from NXT right now that are legit. And the roster is being taken over. Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov. I cannot stress enough, we are in a new era. Because now that Mania is over, and now that you're getting these youth movements, this is the same reason why you hold off on Trick and Carmelo.
Yeah.
You know, because
Absolutely.
now it's time to build that youth. Get you invested in those people. You know, it's very important to say that because we're going to talk about another one later because there was another reveal. But the fact that Ethan Page is up now, and then you got the people that have been around, it's just like, bro.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie on the podcast and say this is my first look at Ethan Page because I've seen him down in AAA and he was in a Rumble or something, a Royal Rumble, wasn't it? Yeah, he was in this year's Royal Rumble. So we've seen a little bit of him, but now to see him one-on-one, I thought it was a great debut. I don't think this hurts Javon at all because you had Rusev get involved. So
yeah.
I love his attitude though, like how he kind of plays with Rusev, like Rusev interfered. He just kind of looks at him like, oh well, I don't care, and then he wants to buddy up with him, and Rusev's still angry, so he decides like, okay, I'm like, all right, I'm out. Yeah, I love it. I think it was either Mikey or Nick on our chat last night said he is going to be a great upper mid card level heel, and I can see it. So. Yeah,
I can see it too.
I think it was
right after that, though. Right after that, we get Liv Morgan taking the victory dance, and Sol Ruka comes out, and we end up with a match with Liv Morgan and Sol Ruka. And now we saw Sol Ruka on the main roster a few months ago,
Yep, she came
in
up
one
for
on one. I'm not counting rumbles and stuff like that.
No, she had a
She
couple
came up and
singles
had
matches.
a match. And I think at the time I was like, no, I it's kind of what I talked about with Jade, right? Sometimes we get into these clunky where it's like I see the talent, but it's like driving a stick shift, right? Like we're getting through it, but every now and again we're grinding a gear. And like the last time I had saw her, I was like, she's still kind of grinding a gear a little bit. Man, she looked like gold. She's ready.
Well, she looked great in the
Like
Rumble.
halfway through the match, I was in the text chat like, she's ready. She's good. Like, I love her finisher too.
Well, after her performance in the Royal Rumble this year, I knew it was a matter of time before she came up. But again, she had an outstanding debut, and some of the stuff, the way she worked with Liv, like Liv gave her a hurricanrana and Saul lands on her feet. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, it's
and then
easy.
we get some Zarya interference in this, and I think that's to set up a match they have in NXT. But again, we're a main roster show.
We are.
Okay. So Vision comes out. Paul Heyman comes out. Apparently, we're doing this now for the Vision. Anyways, Paul is making that a thing, apparently, but okay. Braun Breaker comes out. Seth Rollins comes out. Chairs go. Braun gets busted open. And then Seth is getting beat down, and guess who's back? Street Profits. And I was like, this is what Raw After Mania is meant for. Like, we've been asking for a couple of months now, and we're like, where are the Profits, man? Like, what's going on with the Street Profits, And this is one of those times where our main roster only stance for this pod really kind of screws us because, like, apparently they were doing other stuff, and we're like, we didn't know. We just haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
Like,
thought they went away. Thought someone got hurt. So we
got to stay true.
I love the Street Profits came out. Are they going to be working with Seth, you think?
I think we got to see where that goes, and I'm happy to say that, right? Like, I don't need everything. I don't need.
They didn't become a unit last night. It's just like, well,
I don't need creative. I don't need creative to walk in with the dry erase board and go, this is our plans for the next 6 months, right? Like, I want to see it build. I want to see it happen. And, like, we're going to get to, like, Sean's mega overreaction later on. But, like, I do. I want to see builds. I want to understand where we're going. And I want to see what you do with it, right? Like, because in wrestling, it really is the journey most of the time, right? Like, I don't want to go back to the days of, Vince going, and you go up, do things for 5 minutes. Like, I don't want that. I want a reason why we're doing that, right? And yeah. So as much as like Braun Breaker guy is, he kind of came out worse for wear because he got busted open with the chair shot. So like, okay, welcome back. You're to bleed.
This
just waiting for him to drop I'm waiting for him to drop the dodgeball reference, like be like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Yeah. Nobody, So after that, we get Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. Okay, I'm cool with it. Obviously, we're gonna have to close out this chapter. The fact that Dom got involved, it's just like,
yeah, I know. I thought that was.
Can we close out this chapter? But
no, it's gonna keep going.
Yeah. All right.
Because now Dom, because now Finn Balor has to beat Dom as Finn Balor.
So So because I'm a huge Danhausen fan, man, WWE's sucking me in, man. Because like, if I go to an event, I need like Trick Williams stuff now, and I need Danhausen stuff now. So, like, yeah.
You're gonna need to take out a Loanhausen.
Yeah, I need the human monies. Like, no, so Danhausen wasn't on camera in the States, so unless you were VPNing and Netflix, overseas, I guess he came out, basically said, I met with John Cena, I am now the GOAT.
Yes.
I want the red carpet at the Hall of Fame, I'm a Hall of Famer now, and I have new demands. Like, he wants his cereal, his own cartoon series, and I forget what the last thing was, but like,
Yeah, I'm about to complain about his car smoking. He's like gagging and coughing, like, oh, so much smoke.
Yeah, but it was great. It was like
so his car was
over.
Like, I think his car was overheating, like because everything has to go wrong. It's hilarious. That's the thing.
It was so good though because he was like, well, he got out of the. It's still smoking. I'll go over here. The smoke is following me. Like he acknowledges it, but he ignores it, which is so good. And like the best part is, like he came out costumed as John Cena, but in all Danhausen shit.
Yeah, he had shorts on and.
Yeah, had shorts on, but he had like a Danhausen shirt, Danhausen chain, Danhausen. Bro,
wristbands head. Yeah, he was all Danhausen.
That guy, I'm telling you, that guy is such money. I get that. Like he's not for everybody. I get that.
Jonathan Coachman doesn't get him. Like he thinks he's a flash in the pan. And even Dave McGregor, who's not a fan, said, but like, you should have heard the reaction he gets in the arena. Like, the fans love him. The kids go nuts over him. And like, Coachman just doesn't see it. And so we were kind of talking before the podcast, and I'm like, okay, Danhausen might not be you, but like, where's the kid in people? Like, so if you don't like Danhausen, R-Truth, Chelsea Green, and who's our other one that we're throwing in the group? There's no joy in it.
Well, it's Paul Heyman. But, like, those are our big four. But, like...
I mean, our comedy folks, you know, that like... And now we got Joe Hendry coming next week, so... And I'm sure that some people are going to be like, what the hell's up with this guy? So... It's entertainment. It's carnival. It's theater. It's everything all put in one. Like, it's...
The thing is that, like... Danhausen's shtick can continue. And they're using him right? Like, he does have a feud. He has wrestled once. He's 1-0. 8-0 in curses. Probably 10-0 after WrestleMania. But, like, you know, but the point is that you can have fun with him and let him be him. And just let him print money. People don't realize, like,
he's been
everybody
doing the character like 10 years. It's not like it's a new character. He's comfortable in that character. So he knows what to do. He's been doing it for years.
The thing is like, from a comedy perspective, like, you'll see this a lot. So your best roasters, right? So like Jeff Ross, he's good because he's quick on his feet, right? Like, he can see something and turn it into something funny quick. And Danhausen can do that, right? Like, it's the whole smoke with the car thing. Like, oh, it's smoking. Like, all right, whatever. I got stuff to do. Yeah. You know, like, you see it, you acknowledge it, you crack a little joke, and you move on. And, like, I do look at, like, IWC, like, especially as it applies to him, because I'm like, it resonates to holy hell with me. Like, his thing with Cena at WrestleMania was phenomenal. And, like, it's hard because there are times, you see it with R-Truth and Priest too. Like, there are times where, like, R-Truth will say some R-Truthy things, and, like, Priest will, like, break character. Like, he'll have to compose himself. He'll start, oh, God. Yeah, you know, you'll see Priest, like, trying to hide it because R-Truth has made him break, and R-Truth sets out for that. And Danhausen is kind of the same. I'm like, I don't know how The Miz and Kit Wilson keep straight faces around that guy.
Yeah, even on the even on the red carpet, like, Danhausen was kind of trolling the Miz, and I'm like, oh, it's just funny.
But it's awesome because they're also carrying it out. But I have to flip the coin on this too. There was, like I said, I was scrolling through a lot of the social media from WrestleMania weekend because, like, I like to see the human side, right? And, like, anything with him, and, like, I just saw it, like I said earlier, like, him and this little girl in, you know, the sign language thing, and I'm just like, that's your money. How many kids? So there was a kid that they won seat upgrades. Like, they came to their seats, him and I think it was his dad at the time.
I've seen that.
You know,
they were like at the They were in the upper deck.
And the kid's face painted up. Danhausen face painted up. The kid is just sitting there. He's like, who's your favorite wrestler? He's like, Danhausen. Like, I cannot stress this enough to people. The characters like Cody Rhodes, The Rock, I don't care. Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're not going to resonate with the kid. They'll resonate with the youth, like the, preteen, teen age bracket. But they're not going to resonate with the
kids. Will like them because they beat them up, but they won't identify with him because it's an older character. Where Danhausen kind of he drops down to their level, but yet still keeps us adults entertained. But he knows how to engage with like all ages. So
he does, and he does amazing work. And like I just had to say that because like you got to understand the business side of it. He's outselling some of the top wrestlers. Like people were complaining. They're like, oh, we can get Danhausen on here. Could have got a 5-minute match for like Carmelo Hayes or insert your favorite wrestler here. They're like, do you know how much merch that guy is moving? That guy's printing money right now. Like he was
nothing against Carmelo Hayes, but how much money is Carmelo Hayes making BW right now?
Yeah,
compared to Danhausen.
I said it earlier. The guy's a credit card machine for WWE right now. Because the worst part about it is he's going to keep on getting bigger, and then all the kids are going to want to go. And the best part they've done, they put him on both shows. And like the kids are just, so if you got SmackDown coming to town, or you got Raw coming to town, or a PLE, guess what? Just like, I forget which comedian it was talking about Disney World, but he was like, you'd be out there robbing banks trying to go to Disney World, right? Like, now people are going to be out there robbing banks just to take their kids to go see WWE so they can see Danhausen. A lot of wrestlers are good. Wrestling is good. He is a draw for the right people. Because what do we as parents always want? We want to make our kids happy, right? And like, you start doing some rather questionable financial decisions in your life to make your kids happy. And like, you're going to start seeing it because think about it. Now the parents are going to have to get tickets to the show. And once we get to the show, we have to get, and I'm going to do this quick because it's just happened to be at the top of my feed. Let's see here. Share screen tab.
It's just like what we do on the well, there we go.
Yeah. This is the actual clip with him and the girl with the sign language, and I'm just like, dude, like
that's cool.
Yeah,
and your hotel internet sucks, by the way.
But I mean, that's money. You know what I mean? It so it's wholesome. That guy, I cannot stress this enough. Like, just like people will go out of pocket to get their kids to Disney World, to give them that opportunity, give them that once in a lifetime vacation, WWE now has the draw. And I know I'm going long on this, but I'm delaying the inevitable before I go negative Nancy here. So let's get into it. It's final segment time. All right. Roman shows up, which in tried and true Roman fashion. Roman going out to the ring, and there's the Usos. And he asks them to join him in Gorilla. And I instantaneously went, I understand that in families you forgive, right? But the fact that the Usos turn their bellies over every time he comes a calling is gross. It's gross. And it's like, the worst part about it, the only person with any common sense that's part of that family, apparently, is Solo. Like, think about that for a minute. The minute Solo started getting Roman Reignsy, his people called him on it. He's like, he actually apologized.
Yeah.
He actually apologized and said, I'm sorry. You're right. I was getting out of pocket. I'm sorry. But the Usos, my God, man.
Whatever you say, Roman. Whatever you say, Roman.
Jay almost quit wrestling. It took Cody Rhodes to bring him over to Raw. I get it, it's storyline. But, like, Jey Uso was so fed up with him, he quit. You were so pissed at Roman Reigns that you quit. But yet, anytime after the fact, you just, okay. And then same with Jimmy.
Them in the ring. They're in the ring throwing the ones up.
And I'm just, they just
sitting there
throwing
like,
the ones up. And
I'm like, Sean's throwing up in his mouth right now watching this. Like, it was... I don't. Well, we just sang his praises about night 2, and so here we go. This is my feeling. I'm gonna watch and wait on this. I want to see what they do, because I just hope they're not just finding like the old storyline and just erasing some people's names and keeping the same stories just with different players. I hope not. There's got to be some variety to this. So I'm gonna be patient with it, because I like the Roman that we saw Sunday night. I like the Roman that we saw in the post-show, given the interview. And I was kind of like, we're going to see a little bit of Joe mixed in with Roman. And now we're right back to Roman. So I'm going to wait and see, because, yeah, you had a little meltdown last night and had to seek some therapy. And now you've had 24 hours to think about it. But I don't.
Our talker's chat got
I know we're going to have
a group therapy session, like, because of me last night.
I know. I don't want to see the full Bloodline story. I know we're always going to see bits of it. But
I don't want to see any Bloodline story. Let me run down the reasons why this makes me pissed. One, you went through WrestleMania night 2. You wrestled CM Punk. It was mano a mano, 1-on-1, no shenanigans, no exterior interference, nothing. It's all the shit that we have complained about Roman Reigns during like the last year and a half to 2 years of the Bloodline story. And I think people forget that he buried the roster. Let's keep that in mind. Like, the end of the last year and a half of the Bloodline story, you basically buried the roster. And he had great rivalries that could have been so good for the other opponent, but you knew he wasn't dropping the belt unless he was at Mania. Maybe a SummerSlam if you wanted to swerve. So when he did Clash at the Castle with Drew McIntyre, which by all reasoning, Drew should have won that.
Yep.
It was the time. And you decided to go interference angle. Sami Zayn in Canada, same deal. You went over. Him and Brock Lesnar, it took your entire damn family to beat Brock Lesnar. It got so repetitive. It was just like, hey man, there's like 5 minutes left for this match. Interference should be coming out any time now. It became predictable.
Yeah.
It became predictable. And like the problem was like, no matter how good the build was, no matter how legitimate you thought the opponent was, you knew if it wasn't Mania, it was just going to keep going. Because you're like, he's going to wrestle, he's going to get down, the interference will come, his family will save him, and blah. It's not a trope. It happened over and over and over and over every time he defended, which was rare. And then we would always get the graphic like, it's been 3 weeks. Roman's going to grace us with his presence in 2 weeks. Like, all that crap. Now, he says he's going full time, so when he announced that on Sunday, I went, cool, glad you won then. I really wasn't feeling Punk, so go for it. Time to see Roman Reigns as a true singles champion. And like my concern, as soon as he snatched up the Usos, was goody, we're running Bloodline back again. And we're just going to run it back. And it's like, I can't get behind that.
Well, then
because it got played out.
Well, then instantly you had Jacob Fatu come out and challenge Roman.
I was getting there. Because like my bigger problem is my concern. It's not a problem. It's a concern. Like you, I am willing to give it a little time because I can see an angle where they go to interfere and Roman's like, what are you doing? No, because I think Roman is trying to fix his legacy right now. his part-time schedule up until this point has really put damage on his overall legacy, and he's coming to the end of his career. And I think it's a little bit damaged because you can't refute you're not around. You can't refute that. Oh, he had the title for 1,000 blah 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 days. Well, you can't be like, well, I had the title all this time. Well, yeah, but you also didn't show up to work but every 3 weeks or whatever. And when you did, it was like a videotape cameo. You know what I mean? Like, I get that you want to treat him like an attraction, but the problem is that when both your counterparts, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk at the time, are there every week. Every week.
Hell, Cody's there last night with half his face falling off. And he's
correct.
Still there.
And so I feel like Roman with this full-time through the summer thing is really him just trying to do damage control.
I think this is his final, big run. I think he
wants... The one thing that Roman has never really done successfully, and you've known me for quite a while, I actually liked Roman when he was a face. Like, I would pull for him.
Yeah, I want to see more... I want to see a little bit more fun with this character, too, with Roman coming back full-time.
And I'm going to get into that, too, because when we get to talk about Jacob. My concern is that he checked the block of, I want a match without interference. And now he's just free to go back to doing what he does. And I hope that's not the case. Again, I'm willing to give it time, but it's a concern. It's a huge concern of mine. Because, you can't check the block once and then go, I did it. No, that's a problem, right?
I didn't like the look of him with the Usos either. I just didn't like it as soon as they walked out.
He's never really, in the bigger picture, never had a really successful face run. And I hope that if that's what they're going for, I hate to say it, he needs to keep the Usos off to the side. Because the minute you start running back Bloodline stuff, and here's my beef, right? If the plan is to try to make them a face faction, a face group, whatever you want to call it, Jacob coming out and saying, I need all your stuff, cool. It kind of seemed in character for Jacob. The fact that you said that he had to say, if you lose, are you going to be willing to acknowledge me? It's like, why do I got to kiss your ass?
Yeah, no, I know.
Why does everybody in your family have to kiss your ass? I get that, if you want to come out and all right, Las Vegas, acknowledge me. All right, cool. That's your thing, right? That's your hype thing. Just like LA Knight going, LA Knight, yeah. And Danhausen going, you are cursed.
Yeah, it's just shtick. It's a shtick.
Yeah, it's your shtick. And I'm over that. But the fact that you had to make it a point that, Jacob Fatu, if he loses, has to acknowledge you, kiss my ass.
Yeah, I don't like I don't like that.
It's just because, in reality, you're basically saying, if I beat you, you got to kiss my ass. You got to suck up to me now. And it's these are grown-ass men. These are family. You don't treat your family like that shit. Cousins, brothers, sisters, it doesn't matter.
Here's another thing. How do we know that the Usos aren't going to play Roman? We remember everything you did. We'll play along now. What if they're doing this to set up Roman?
You can't do it. It's out of character for them. Because every time he comes calling, no matter how much he treats them like shit, those two specifically.
But it wasn't 2 months ago that Jimmy's telling Jay, stop listening to Roman. You don't know how bad he is. Don't you remember what he did to us? And then two months later, they have total amnesia and complete loyalty.
Yes. That's my point. And that's why I said the only smart one out of the whole group was Solo. Solo, like I said, the MFTs called him on it. They said, you're acting like him. He went, you know what? You're right. My bad. You're right. I got to treat y'all better. So, I don't get, why we went to this card right away. You could have had Roman stand out there, cut pretty much the promo that he cut without the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you just went, I was so irate last night, and I get that it could be different. I fully acknowledge it could be different.
But you're afraid that it won't.
I'm afraid that there is
worse.
There is a damage control. I put the meme of a guy blowing off the dust on a book, right? Because like in my head, I feel like they're like, oh, the natives are getting restless. All right, what did we do that worked recently? Oh, the bloodline. All right, bloodline. And like, I want it to be different because like, and it pisses me off because it was, all right, Roman wins. He beats Punk. And you're like, all right, I was kind of over Punk anyways. I hope the title shows up more than, once a month or whatever. And then he goes, I'm full-time through the summer. And you're like, okay, cool. All right, so you're going to work. All right, I'm happy with that. So now I don't have a problem with you winning the title. And then the first act that you do after you've announced that I'm going to come to work and after you've won the title, you go, huh, I'm bringing all my cronies back. And it's just
we're getting the band back together,
Yeah, it's so bad. And like everybody pontificating online, like, look, he's gonna, bro. I get frustrated with it because like I understand the draw that he is. I understand who he is and the potential he has. The only thing that holds him back is attendance and the constant interference. And like people can go like, oh, he just prints money. He didn't do the work. Usos did the work. Sami Zayn did the work. Solo Sikoa did the work. He just showed up after they did all the shit work and took credit. Like, and I mean that because like in those weeks where we weren't getting him on TV, they were all carrying the ball. They'd bring his name up. And they would
look how much weight Punk had to carry in this build up to WrestleMania. I mean,
exactly my point.
Roman was there more-ish than he normally is, but Punk was there every damn week. Like Punk didn't take a week off, I don't think.
Punk had to do a whole month without Roman after Roman announced because Roman won the Rumble, came out and said Punk, and Punk had to carry the ball for like a whole month. And,
right, and then Roman did like 5 out of 6 Raws just to make up for it. But by then it was like,
but then
I would have rather that they would have. Okay, Roman's only going to be there 5 or 6 times. Well, maybe have him come every other week, but you just don't have him make the announcement and then sit at home for a month.
Liv Morgan dragged out her announcement for pretty much all the way up until Chamber, which is when you should do it. And you could have drug it out, Roman go, Punk. Okay, cool. Now we got to build, right? And we didn't have to listen to Punk run a whole month of promo stuff trying to keep it interesting, So I am going to be patient, but I have a big issue that the first effing thing you did after winning a one-on-one match with CM Punk was get your cronies back together. It's a problem. And I hope, because everybody was reading into it. They're like, oh, he didn't tell him to. He invited him. Like, I don't give a shit. There's a huge character flaw with the Usos. Like, I think I said last night that they have no self-respect. Like, and I likened the Usos. This is going to sound harsh, so everybody, caveat, I am not minimalizing domestic violence. There's your disclaimer, because I'm going to say what I said last night. This is the equivalent of someone that's in an abusive relationship, where everybody tells you you're in an abusive relationship, and you make excuses for that person. Roman has treated his family like poo, and they just keep on going back. Well, I try not to swear. Sometimes it slips out, but
poo's just a funny word.
And the Usos do the equivalent of, he said he was sorry. That's what it all feels like.
Okay, you can say you're sorry all you want, but if your behavior never changed, it's a hollow apology. That's the thing.
And
where is the behavior change been for Roman? There hasn't been.
It hasn't. It never has. And like, I hope. Well, because if you just run the bloodline back the way the bloodline was, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, legit, I will not care.
It'd be stupid.
I will legit not care. Like, if we go back to he has a match, there's interference. If we go back to if I beat you, you have to kiss my ass and all this other stuff, I'm out. Because I don't find that intriguing at all. It's just same shit. Now, if you want to put a new spin on it, then you got my attention. But if you're just going to run it back, same old, I'm out. Like, legit, I will not watch it. I will turn my TV off when that time comes. I am not going to sit through another Bloodline 85.0. It'll be like the Windows Vista.
Well, that'll be short in our podcast, that's for sure.
I just can't. I don't want to go through it again because it got.
Do you think the fans really want to see the whole Bloodline thing again?
I don't think you're going to get an accurate read because he has a very large fan base. You also had the Barking Seal contingent. So and let's be clear about this. Before this podcast ever aired, before this podcast ever became a thing, one of the largest topics of conversation that led us down this path, that led to this podcast, was all the stuff with the Bloodline and Roman. Before we ever started talking about any of this and started this fantastic, wonderful, and brilliant podcast by like two of the handsomest hosts ever to host a podcast.
Who would that be?
That'd be us.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Self-promotion and all. But
self-deprecation over here. Anyway.
I don't want to belabor it. We're 2:15 in, but it's important to bring this up because this podcast was founded. The foundation before it actually became a thing was based on Bloodline stuff and phone conversations about the Bloodline and about how repetitive it was and how we were tired. It wore out and it got tired. I hope they change it. I will give them time to change it. But if we just run it back, I'm going to be really disgruntled because I don't want to watch reruns.
Yeah. And if Roman
says he's going
to be here all summer, does that mean after the summer he goes away again?
Yep.
So why would you bring up the whole Bloodline thing for something that's going to be very temporary?
Well, because they got to carry the ball until he shows up again for Survivor Series. I know.
Just set me on fire and let me burn.
Let's give it time. Let's see where it goes.
I'm saying if they go that way, because I think I'm gonna let it breathe and take time.
If he's gonna show up to work, cool. But you know who always shows up to work? Matt. Matt, tell the folks where to find us, buddy.
Okay, yeah, you can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And again, thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving all your comments. Also, if you watch some of our old stuff or want to drop us a line and you're afraid to talk on social media, you can also reach us at if we had the pencil at gmail.com. We already got the pencil. Or
IWHTP.
That's what we should have went with.
When I learn how to do sign language, we'll have hand gestures later.
Whip.
That's the next level.
It's whip.
Hey, look, folks, thank you for watching. It's been a great weekend. I know we joke, and I know this one went long, but obviously there's a lot to talk. There was a lot to talk about. So great news in adventures here. Obviously, we've kind of upped our content a little bit. I think Matt and I kind of settled on. We will be doing, morning coffee with you for PLEs now, so that we can talk about it ahead of time. We'll give you guys the info on the format later. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Let's enjoy season 2. Like Matt said, if you got ideas or you want to see something or do something or whatever, I'm all for it. But again, thank you for your support this year. Thank you to all our subscribers. And again, thank you to everybody. But let's have a great season 2. And until then, we'll talk to y'all later. We're out.
Take care.